Hi everybody, Larry Graves here. I thought I would do, once again, a different kind of a video. And in this video, I would like to show you what I've been watching on Netflix. Now, of course, I have the Canadian version of Netflix, but I have also seen the American version and watched a few shows on there illegally. Thank you. But yeah. So I'm going to switch it over. You're not going to be able to see me. That must be highly disappointing. But you'll hear my voice, which is very, very soothing for some people. And I'll just talk about what I've been watching, and I would love your thoughts on what you watch on Netflix. And the only thing, one of the things I don't like about Netflix is it doesn't show you everything they have. They should have like a page or a few pages where they list everything. And so, anyway, and I will say I love documentaries. Now, Brother's Keeper, if you like documentaries, it's an excellent it's about these brothers, and they, I guess they're a bit on the strange side, and the one brother died, and then they're blaming the other brother for killing him, and it's just a very interesting story, so I highly recommend it. Starring Adam West, the original Batman from the 60s TV show. That was quite entertaining. I'm not a big comic hero kind of a fan or anything, but I love almost any documentary. I find them interesting. The Other Side, the other one, I'm not a fan of the Grateful Dead, but this story on the guitarist of from the Grateful Dead, Bob Weir, The Long Strange Trip of Bob Weir, it's interesting, so I enjoyed it. An Honest Liar, it's about the musician James Randi, and I found that really interesting too. Highly recommended. The Office. I never watched The Office when it was on TV, and so I thought I would check it out when I saw it on Netflix, and I got hooked big time. Although this just came on to the Canadian Netflix. That's one of the reasons I was watching the American Netflix, is because they had The Office and the Canadian version of Netflix didn't. But anywho, I loved the first, I'd say the first 3 seasons, and then it slowly became less funny and more stupid, I guess. There's a fine line between stupid and funny, I guess. And then of course once Steve Carell left the show, it was, I don't think I even watched the last season or 2. Definitely the first 3 seasons were really, really good. Searching for Sugar Man. Excellent story about this guy who didn't know that he actually had a fan base. And his albums were quite popular. I forget which country it was. But it's the story of them finding him, and we got Keith Richards, Under the Influence. It was okay. Yeah, I liked it. I love most documentaries on like World War II or the Holocaust. You know, sometimes of course it's depressing, obviously, but I mean, I like learning things. And Woody Allen, a documentary, of course, I don't know about his past. He probably is guilty with some things, but still, I loved some of his comedy videos. And so it's an interesting story about his career. Schitt's Creek is, I believe, a Canadian TV show starring Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, and Eugene Levy's son, Daniel Levy. I only watched, I think, 2 or 3 episodes, and I thought it was really good. It was very, very funny, and I might check out more of it. So I would recommend that. I don't know, it's probably not on the American or British Netflix, though. The Good Son, I'm not a boxing fan, but this story of Ray Boom Boom Mancini was excellent. Highly recommended. Because I guess well, I guess it's for sure, he killed a man in the ring. It really, of course, affected him. And so it's a very touching movie. Don't Stop Believing. Once again, I'm not a fan of the rock band Journey. I don't mind, some of their songs and all that, but I've never been a fan. But it's a great documentary on them trying to find a replacement for Steve Perry. Best of Enemies, Buckley versus Vidal, Gore Vidal and William F. Buckley. I'm not into politics and all that, but once again, I enjoyed it. It was interesting. Mr. Warmth, the Don Rickles Project. I was kind of disappointed with the documentary, but I think Don Rickles is probably one of my favorite comedians, actually. The 7-5, highly recommended. I'll read it. It's the riveting film that examines the case of Mike Dowd, a corrupt Brooklyn cop who became dirtier than the drug dealers he was supposed to be policing. Policing. Really, really good. Good Old Frida. This documentary profiles... Jeez, I can't talk. This documentary profiles Frida Kelly, who was a shy Liverpool teen. That's easier to say. When she was asked to work for a local band looking for fame, the Beatles. And great. Just great, great, great. Video games, the movie. I'm not a big gamer, but I used to love Nintendo and all that, so that was enjoyable. The Terminator, I don't remember actually watching this on Netflix, but of course when it came out I loved it. Meet the Parents. I love the very first of the trilogy, and then the other two not so much. But Meet the Parents is definitely one of my favorite comedy videos. Lambert and Stamp, the Who's managers, I guess. And that was very interesting, especially the second part when there was some interviews with Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend. Now, Dragon's Den is definitely a show that I watch a lot. There's the American version that came later. I forget the name of it, but Kevin O'Leary's on it. And he was originally on the Canadian version. And so there's quite a few seasons where he's on it, and I really, really love the show. And let's see what else here. Those are top picks recently added. And of course, Breaking Bad, I got right into right away. I watched the whole series and loved it. Orange is the New Black, I saw the first couple of shows, and then it just didn't appeal to me, except the nudity. The nudity appealed to me. History of the Eagles. I'm not a big fan of the Eagles, but it's an excellent documentary on them. So I really enjoyed it. Of course, Canada's very own Trailer Park Boys. Very funny show. Friends. I was just watching a few minutes of one of the episodes. I'm not going to be watching it on Netflix, but it was a funny show. My first wife Nancy loved it, and so I would watch bits of it, and I thought it was quite humorous. This is probably the one movie I would recommend out of everything if you have not seen it. It's a documentary on Glenn Campbell, and of course he has Alzheimer's, and so it shows him on his final tour. And the first time I watched this, it really affected me. I think I had tears in my eyes through the whole documentary because it brought back memories of my dad, because he had, I don't know if he had Alzheimer's, but he forgot things. And so it was very sad. But the movie itself, yes, there's some sadness in it and kind of depressing, but there's uplifting things too in the movie, and so it's good. I think it's you'd enjoy it. The Devil and Daniel Johnson, about this cult artist. I had seen this on DVD years ago, so I haven't watched all of it on Netflix, but it's quite quite the documentary. Highly recommended if you're into a reclusive musical genius in the throes of manic depression. Tom Hanks, Captain Phillips, I started to watch it, and then I was reading that a lot of, it's supposed to be based on a true story, and then I'm reading that it really, a lot of fabrications in the movie, and that just, I don't know, it just kind of turned me off of the movie, so I didn't watch it. Amy, once again, not really a fan of her music. I mean, it was okay, like, definitely has talent. And I watched the whole documentary. It was okay. I thought it could have been done better, but Making a Murderer, everybody's been talking about that, and once again, reading that this guy probably is guilty of things, that kind of turned me off of the whole series. Young Frankenstein, a classic, of course. Better Call Saul. I've only watched the first 10 minutes or so, and I was kind of bored. But of course, I'll give it a chance sometime. Zoolander. What a stupid movie. And I've heard that Zoolander 2 is really, really bad. And this had some laughs in it. I haven't even watched all of it yet, but I enjoyed parts of it. And Owen Wilson, I always kind of get a kick out. And of course, Ben Stiller. There's some really funny bits in the movie for sure. Biggie and Tupac. Once again, I'm just starting to watch it. It's investigates the murders of rappers Tupac and Biggie Smalls, and might be interesting. The Armstrong Lie. I watched this documentary on Lance Armstrong, and once again, probably one of the better documentaries I've seen on Netflix. Highly recommended. Ghostbusters. And another, I'm not sure, I kind of get confused, but they're both good documentaries. The other one is Stop at Nothing, the Lance Armstrong story. Casting By, about this legendary casting director. I found that interesting. Stay a While. Now this, of course, is Canadian. It's about the Canadian band The Bells, who had a huge hit, Stay a While. It was even a huge hit in the States. It was okay. It was alright. Now, I am not a fan of the Backstreet Boys, believe it or not. But if you like documentaries, this is really, really worth watching, because it's about the business, of course, of music and getting ripped off by the manager and all that, and it tells individual stories of each of the singers, and they definitely have talent. It's not my kind of music, but I was really impressed with them. The Truman Show, one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies. Atari Game Over, about supposedly the worst game of all time, E.T., and them trying to find the buried cartridges in the desert. It was very good. I never got into The Walking Dead. I've only seen one show, and I know I should try and watch more. I apologize. Life Itself, about Roger Ebert. Really, really, really good. Beware of Mr. Baker. Not one of the nicest guys. The drummer for Cream in the 60s, and if anything, at least watch the first 5 minutes when Ginger Baker slugs the maker of the documentary. Muscle Shoals, really good. It Might Get Loud with The Edge, and Jimmy Page and Jack White is excellent. I watched some of that. See, so I've been watching a lot of documentaries. Neil Young Journeys, that's very good. It's on Netflix yet, but I saw this at the theater. Howard Stern Private Parts. I thought it was excellent. Very funny. I've never seen Ant-Man, but I've heard it's good. I'm not into the comic book kind of movies, but I might try watching that sometime. The Imitation Game is excellent. I saw that at the theater. And I know I can go all through this, but I don't want this to be a 2-hour video. I Am Ally. That was good. I actually had the Blu-ray disc of this, and my ex has it now, of life, and that was really, really good. It's all about life. The Departed, not quite as good as Goodfellas, but it was still pretty good. I enjoyed it. I saw that at the theater. Jesus Camp, that's another documentary that I really enjoyed. A documentary that follows 3 kids at a controversial summer camp that grooms the next generation of conservative Christian political activists. And that's about it. I'd love your comments in the comments section below on what you've been watching on Netflix. And yeah. Bye.